Yes. And Stephen, it looks like, so John Upton says, is there anybody broadcasting? So before we go any further, let's make sure we are, because it's interesting. I see when I look at our show on the Be Live in 5 page, I see just me. I don't see you, but I'm not solo. So I'm going to send you down and bring you back up. Okay, because I don't see you up there. So hold on a second. Okay, so we're having a little bit of interesting technical difficulty, which is always fun. Fun to deal with. You get to brainstorm and try to figure out what's going on. So what I did, just for those who are not familiar with doing live streaming, is what I did is I sent Stephen downstairs and then I brought him back up. So hopefully that'll change the situation. Otherwise, you get to look at me, and I don't know if you can even hear. You have just appeared. No, Stephen. Yeah, woo, woo. I don't know. Hopefully he'll be showing up in a second. If not, you get to see me while Stephen talks. Or, you know what? I'm going to try something, Stephen. I'm going to send you solo, and I'm going to see what happens. So why don't you go ahead and start talking a little bit? Let's see what happens. I better make funny faces then. Okay. So he just disappeared. This is kind of fun, actually, right? Because then we get to see if we can figure out what the heck is going on. I see on the screen, it is kind of funny because I can see that I'm just looking like I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't, just waiting for Stephen to come on. And so it's going to be fun to see. I love troubleshooting. I know Stephen does too. So
well, now this is so totally weird. I mean, we can see and hear each other, but on the screen, because we've got to wait sort of 30 seconds.
You're back. I can see you.
Oh, right. Okay. We're good. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Let's have a show.
Right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you to John.
No, Stephen. No, Stephen, even when he's Han Solo. I left that.
Right.
He's arrived.
So you haven't heard any of the conversation. Well, you've heard one half of the conversation that Lynda and I have been having. And I've got to say, it was a cracking conversation.
Sorry you missed it.
Yeah, we are totally sorry you missed it. So we're going to recount both sides of the story of how you can go live. And basically, Lynda and I have appeared in each other's timelines for the last 12 months or so. And we got together when the live video hub was created. And Lynda was one of the first people I actually interviewed on the live video hub. And we got on famously. It was a sunny day, and Lynda was outside, and it looked absolutely glorious because it was a grey day in Wiltshire in England, and we had the sunshine and the grey clouds both in the same frame. And we got on famously. The time just passed, and like now when we're actually talking to each other, we lose track of time, and we just carry on chatting away. And that's the key to going live, is that I look at this and I treat this as the two of us talking together, and everybody's watching, but that doesn't matter. The thing is, if we're having a conversation and there are no breaks in the conversation, then we're actually doing a successful broadcast. But the thing that holds people back is the fear of doing this, isn't it? Now, this is something which you are well acquainted with, and that's fear.
Yes, definitely. And I see that John says you change your shirt, which is funny. Like, so why don't we make you disappear for a little while and just change your shirt like throughout the show? That'd be kind of fun. And then I'll go change mine. We're going to plan that for next time, John.
Yeah, we'll do a wardrobe change mid-show. He's saying that because I did the show at 2 a.m. Pacific. And that was 8 hours ago, and I was in a shirt then because it's Loving for Britain, and now I'm in the t-shirt, and that's the way. He's trying to wind me up, I think. And say hello to Jason. But
That
getting
works.
back,
Hello, Jason.
yeah,
But
getting
yeah, so
back,
getting back to fear.
yeah,
Yeah, I know a lot about fear. In 2015, I woke up January 1st and said, what am I going to do different this year? And I decided that every day that year I was going to face a fear. So I woke up every morning, asked myself, what scares me? And whatever was the very first thing that popped into my head was the thing I did. Now, I had no idea by doing that what was going to happen in my life that year, like how much my life was going to change. But I did things that I would never have imagined before because they would have been too scary. But, here I was like challenging myself to do a fear every single day. And the amount of personal growth I encountered because of doing that, the amount of people that I met was incredible. The caliber of people, people who are actually like literally changing the world, like these life changers. One of them I met is so amazing. He's the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And, they've granted wishes to over 450,000 children, who are dying.
wow,
And to meet the person who actually came up with that concept, it's just really cool because it's just like a different mindset. And it gets you, like for me, it elevated my mindset to think, you know what, I can do stuff like that too. He's just a regular person and he just had an idea. So the difference between someone like that and someone like I used to be is that they would have an idea and they would act on it. I would have an idea and wouldn't do anything on it. And so that's really the main difference between those who are like extremely, extremely successful. And success isn't always wealth. Success isn't always money in the pocket. Because, for example, Frank, his name is Frank Shankwitz, the Make-A-Wish Foundation creator. He was volunteer the entire time. He never took a dime from that charity. And so his success was not in financial gains from the charity. His success was in the lives he touched, because not only did he grant a wish to a child, but he changed the life of the family as well. Because imagine your child is like, just about ready to die. And they get this wish granted, something that they want, and they come to life that day. And it's so amazing because the parents so often will say, my child just like got totally uplifted and came back to life by having this wish granted. And then they died a couple days later, but they got to have that wish granted. And so the whole family's life has changed. So to meet somebody like that one person who I did meet in 2015 during my Year of Fears journey, it's been incredible. And it's really opened my eyes, my mind to opportunities and to seeing people for the greatness that they have inside of them, for the positivity that they have inside of them. And it's totally changed my attitude. I'm a completely different person. I'm positive where I used to be negative. I'm not scared where I used to be scared all the time. I used to hide behind everybody, whereas now I'm like, I want to be in front, so it's totally changed my life. And so I recommend it for everybody, and nobody has taken me up on it yet. Stephen, are you in?
I mean, the thing about it is that if you just think about an idea, then it stays an idea. If you actually do something, take that first step. I was speaking to Olga yesterday, and we've spoken to Olga before we started the show, and she was in business. She was doing well. She's climbing the corporate ladder, and we know that well. My dim and distant past. But she wasn't happy. Yeah. And you just said a moment ago, it's not the wealth that counts. It's basically helping others and getting not satisfaction, but getting something from helping people. And so she decided that she was going to leave the corporate world, and is now starting to run mastermind groups. I mean, we'll come on to Procrastinators Anonymous in a minute, but this is a sort of parallel group of ladies who have left the corporate world and now want to be in business for themselves. And the thing that you actually need to do that is support. And you need somebody behind you saying, just do it. If you've got a good idea, then run with it. And that was a fascinating interview, yesterday, which nearly didn't take place. But you've got a similar group in Procrastinators Anonymous, which I wish I could say. It's a long word. Yeah. Are you changing the name?
Yes, I had to change the name, and I'll tell you why. But first, let's say hi to Catherine. Good to see you. And John says he was not winding you up. It was just an observation.
Okay.
And Catherine says we've had a make a wish. I am lucky, and she did not die. Oh, that's so great. I'm hearing a lot more of that. They're granting wishes, and not all of the children are dying, which is really awesome. So we're looking at the photos from just yesterday. We have priceless memories. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Catherine. So yeah, so Procrastinators Anonymous. I created a program called Procrastinators Anonymous, where I take you from a procrastinator and turn you into an actionator. I used to be a huge procrastinator on everything, and most of it was because of fear. I had fears of things, and so I just, I'll just put it off, and I can do that tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow, but it never happened. But here's what happened. My mentor says, Procrastinators Anonymous, you might have a problem with that name. You might have a copyright infringement. So I reached out to a lawyer and found out, yes, that could be a copyright infringement. So I've changed the name. So we've changed the name to the Finish It Fast program. So it's showing more of like the action that you take instead of that, saying, hey, you're a procrastinator. Raise your hand. Hey, I'm a procrastinator. So it's more like the outcome and the result that you get is that you do finish it fast. What's been amazing is that my clients complete 90%, 90% of the time my clients complete the things that they plan on completing each week. So it's been absolutely amazing. And I know this is going to be a very large program. I already have the numbers in my head and looking forward to growing it into something really great so I can help so many more people.
And Catherine likes the word actionator as well.
Yeah.
And I can actually say finish it fast, so I'm happy too. I mean, mastermind groups work, don't they? I mean,
yes. Oh my gosh.
What's the mechanics of a mastermind group?
Well, different people run them different way, but I'm actually part of a program called the Mastermind Association, and it's headed up by my mentor, Greg Reed, who has been commissioned by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to carry on Napoleon Hill's works. So it's awesome that he's done so much studying of, the Think and Grow Rich series, is doing just like all of Napoleon Hill's archives. They pulled out the archives, and he was just like listening to these, like reel to reel tapes and stuff, listening to everything Napoleon Hill dictated about, anything that had to do with success and everything. So anyway, Greg, decided to start the Mastermind Association, where we were actually creating a process so that people can sign up to be a leader in their own mastermind association group, which is really awesome. Right. The reason I mentioned that is because there are so many different ways to run a mastermind, but Greg has run extremely successful, very affluent masterminds and has really been able to help so many people. So he's taking all that knowledge that he's learned, through his Napoleon Hill research, through all the masterminds he's run, through all the masterminds he's been involved in, taken all that information, distilled it down into the most simplest way to get the biggest benefit in the fastest route, which is so incredible. And I've been in masterminds, I've led masterminds, and watching this one unfold is absolutely incredible. It's not out there officially yet as far as the program, but they're working on it. But you can go on Facebook and find the Mastermind Association and go ahead and click to join and see if they'll let you join. You never know. The Mastermind Association.
Just do it. Just
do it.
Find out more. I'm going to go there after this show and find out more, because what I've discovered this week with doing the 5 days live is that when you're doing things on your own, situation is that you've got to be your own motivator. You've got to do everything yourself. When you're in a group of people and that group of people are working together, then it's a totally different situation insofar as people help each other and people take on a load and some of the responsibility of actually carrying out the overall thing. I mean, this week with yourself and David and Brigitte on Monday got off to a flying start, talking about camera confidence. That was an absolutely brilliant show, which is still packing them in on a daily basis. There's a number of people, because what we're actually doing is we're actually creating evergreen content. Because the ideas that yourself and David Brigetti suggest on Monday are relevant not just this week, but next week and the week after that, and in fact, until the three of you sit down again and do another session. So then on Tuesday, we were with Erin, and Erin and I talked about planning. Again, that's evergreen content and great ideas in that show. Then yesterday was repurposing with Animura, and today was show promotion. And it's just been absolutely fantastic with RJ and Brichetti and David again. So the team of people working together, whether it be a mastermind team or a team for a particular project, makes that project, it gives it a great chance of success, doesn't it? Working as a team.
Definitely, especially if the team is cohesive, because I've been involved in teams where, and, maybe all of us have been involved in these kinds of teams where, like, maybe in high school or in college or whatever, where they group together a team of 4 people. You have to do a project, and then you find that person who doesn't participate at all. And then you find that person who is like the go-to, who does everything. And then you find, the one person who's kind of slacking off, has a lot of ideas and stuff and shares a lot of ideas, but doesn't do any of the work. There's those kinds of teams. Well, those aren't the kinds of teams you want to be involved in, right? Because most likely you're the person who's doing all the work while the other ones are slacking. I don't know about you, but that tends to be the kind of groups that I get teamed up with. But when I'm strategic about the people that I partner with, it's totally different. Here's one thing I've learned, throughout the years is that people, like, we all have our own strengths and we all have our weaknesses. Now, let's say, for example, you are a person whose strength is talking to people, getting them to come and join a community and something like that. But then the organizer says, I need somebody to do spreadsheets. And let's say you're like I used to be, which was a people pleaser. I would say, I'll do the spreadsheets. And then I would procrastinate because I hate doing spreadsheets. So I wanted to help, but I didn't want to do that thing. And that wasn't my wheelhouse. That wasn't my area of strength. So then what I do now when I form my teams, I held an event in 2015 called the Lemon Zest and Garlic Fest. An absolutely amazing concept. People were really into it. And I got delivered to me. I say this because I don't know where these people came from, but I got delivered to me 10 absolutely amazingly perfect entrepreneurs in exactly the spots I needed them in to fill out my team, because I had that spreadsheet person, I had that creative person, I had that marketing person. So I had like the absolute perfect, beautiful team. And the event was seamless, literally seamless, except when the heavens decided to open up and start pummeling rain on us for 3 hours solid with thunder and lightning. Now, this was in July in San Diego. We don't get rain in July, let alone thunder and lightning. So it was absolutely crazy. But I got to tell you, the team just we kept it together. We all were like, let's be solution oriented. So everybody was like, let's solve problems. And what was really great, Stephen, is being the leader of this amazing team is I knew that Jessica knew what to do. I knew that Amanda knew what to do. And I didn't micromanage anybody because I knew that I could trust them and that they would do their job. And that's what's amazing is when you have a team like that, that's the brilliance. Sometimes it's hard to find those people, but it's asking the right questions to make sure that you compile the right team.
Totally. I mean, we're fortunate to be involved in live video, and 60% of the team that have put on 5 days live have known each other for quite a while now. So that works out well. And it's just so much fun. When the team gels and team get on, team support each other and support the project, then it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm quite enjoying this week. But I'm looking forward to the weekend as well, because we've got one more show to go tomorrow. But I should be taking the weekend.
You've worked your butt off, man. You have worked your butt off.
Indeed. And but it's been worth it. It's been more than worth it. And it's just magical when something actually works. Now, you're actually off on a new project next week, aren't you? Next Thursday. Oh
my gosh. Yeah, and it's actually starting today. Okay. Yeah. Oh gosh. But before we go there, I want to say hi to, I'm going to try to pronounce your name. And, I don't know. Do you know how to say?
It's Gospel. Just shorten it to Gospel.
Gospel. Okay. Hi, Gospel. Good to see you. And then we got Wayne. Good day. Good eye, mate. That's my Australian accent. It's the best I can do. I have something so absolutely amazing coming up. And what's really interesting is I've the last 3.5 years. So 3.5 years ago, I jumped from corporate. I had been in corporate for 36 years. I had worked 49 jobs. So it's not like I was a stable, employee for 36 years. I had 49 jobs. And when I quit my most recent job, which was November of 2014, and I took that leap into entrepreneurship, I had no idea what the word even entrepreneur even meant, let alone, putting myself out there and trying to figure out what I was going to do. But I had faith that there was something more to life out there for me. Like you were mentioning earlier, Olga. So was it Olga?
Yes, it was.
Yes. Okay. Right. I got the right name. Yeah. So you were mentioning her and how she, like leaving corporate and helping people with that transition and stuff. And so that was me. I left corporate without a net. I literally just leaped and was like, okay, I hope the chute opens, because all I know is I'm not doing that anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I embarked on this amazing journey. And that's when 2015, doing the Year of Fears, was really important for me, because it helped me to grow so much. I grew exponentially. Basically, every other week, people were saying, you are a totally different person than you were a week ago. Almost every single other, week or so, people were telling me that. So I know I was growing emotionally and mentally so fast. But with that came so much change, because with growth comes change, and which can be scary for some people. But I love change, as you can tell with 49 jobs. I mean, you gotta love change, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely don't fear change. So I was loving the fact that I was changing. But what happened with all this change is that what I was like, the thing I'm going to do, this is the thing I'm going to make money from. This is the thing happened so many times, because I would grow and I would say, this is the thing. And then like 2, 3, 4 weeks later, I had grown so much that it's like, that thing doesn't work for me anymore. But because I'm mentioning this, because of the thing that's coming up right now, is like one of the things that I do. I've decided to call myself a chameleonpreneur. I can adapt to any situation, and I love to do a lot of things. And I've been told you need to focus on one thing, just focus on one thing. But I find when I focus on one thing, I get very bored. And boredom is not the place of growth. And so I find that for me, I just need to let myself be me, which is to do many things, very varied things as well. And so just this week, a friend of mine who's a doctor, he's worked at the White House for 17 years, and he has found a way to heal people who have PTSD, arthritis, back problems, eyesight issues. He actually helped me improve my eyesight by about 60% in one session. And it's non-invasive. It's not surgery. It's like an electrical arthritis. That's electrical. But because of all the stuff he does, what we're doing is combining ourselves together. He has this brilliance of what he does and who he helps. I have this vision of helping get homeless veterans off the streets and into homes.
Yeah.
So because of that, we're combining our forces, and we're actually going to start working on a documentary today where we start interviewing veterans who have PTSD. We're putting together this documentary. He's going to heal them, and then we're going to interview them after and kind of like follow them for a couple of weeks so we can see the progress, so people can see that what he does really does work. And then he's going to publish a paper on it. And it's just absolutely amazing to be part of this. So he called me up on like Monday, and he says, "Hey, Lynda, you want to do a documentary?" And I was like, heck yes, I'm going to. Just do it.
Yes.
I don't know. But that's not what matters, is because if you're in flow and you're doing the stuff that you're supposed to be doing in life, it's going to just flow and it all comes together. So we're getting together. We're doing this documentary this next couple of days. It'll be today through Sunday. It's doing the filming. Then the director will put it all together. So it's just amazing that if I were following one course until I was successful, I would have said no to this. But I know in my heart of hearts that I'm supposed to be doing this, because this is what's going to help me get those veterans off the streets and into homes. Because Stephen, I actually envision, like I have this vision in my mind of me walking down the streets of San Diego downtown, and there are no homeless people there because they are in homes. And you think about how it affects people on a regular basis to see people who are homeless, because how often now people, like, you're walking by homeless people and you just walk by and ignore them. You know, they're asking for help and you're like, oh, they're probably going to use it for drugs or alcohol. Like, those are our stigmas that we have. Not all of them are drugs. You know, not all of them are using it for alcohol, but there are a lot of them are. And almost 70% of our homeless in Los Angeles alone are veterans.
Wow.
Veterans are our homeless people. And most of that is because of the things that have happened to them when they were away at war and they came back, they got PTSD. It really messes up your mind. And that's, you know, they kind of spiral down, go into depression, start drinking, lose their house. Then next thing you know, they're out on the streets. Some of them get so bad that their brain doesn't function enough for them to even go in and get help, because they're just like, they're gone mentally. And I think about how sad that is. They put themselves on the line. We don't know what happened to them. Nobody knows, but they're on the streets now. So I want to get them off those streets, get them into homes so that they can become participating members of society again. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this.
Indeed. And Catherine is saying that she's relating to what you're saying, and gospel as well. It is, if you find yourself fortunate enough to be in a position to help people, then it's a good thing for them and for yourself. And I hope that the documentary helps tell the story, not only of the veterans, but also of the treatment of the veterans, and that you actually help to build a program which helps hundreds and thousands of people over the coming years. So
right. And potentially millions, because what will happen is after he publishes his paper, then he can start training more people to do what he does. He's the only person who does this right now. So he can start training more people to do what he does. And where our goal is to send an army out there to treat people. So whether they're homeless or not, like, we have some people who are not homeless who will be coming to be part of this documentary as well, that they're the severity of what they have, you can actually see that they have physical, and then you're going to be able to see the transformation in 1, 2, or 3 sessions with the doctor. And because of this, we're going to be able to send out, and it's holistic. That's the thing. It's holistic medicine. He's French, and he's like, American medicine, like it's just all about, throwing the drugs at you and stuff to get you better. But, he's more into the holistic healing and helping us to inside out. And that's what his process is. I don't even know the actual name of it because it doesn't compute in my mind, but all I know is it works. I mean, by improving my eyesight by 60%, I became a believer instantly, because it was instant. Like, we were done with the session in 1.5 hours, and boom, I was like, oh my gosh, I can see license plates, which I haven't been able to see in 15 years. Wow. So it's, what he does is absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to get this documentary done so we can get it out there, start raising those funds so that we can, get people trained, get them out there and start, healing the homeless population, as well as people who have, what do you call it? Traumatic brain injury. That's another thing he's been able to help people with. So it's so many different things. Like, the list goes on of what he can help people with.
I'm just stunned, and I do wish you every success with that. I mean, we do have a similar situation in the UK, so I hope that he can train people in the UK as well. And
yes, definitely. It'll be worldwide. It'll be worldwide for sure. Once he gets this paper published and everything, and we get this documentary done, and once he can start to really get some traction. The thing is, Stephen, he loves what he does so much. He's helped over 600 people. And he loves what he does so much that he's been doing it as a volunteer. So it's time for him to be able to, share that knowledge and get it out there, but also to be paid for his services. And so we're working on that as well. So with this documentary, we have a couple people who are coming as paid participants, and they'll be part of the documentary, but they're actually paying, because we need to fund so that we can get these veterans in here so that we can heal them at the same time, because the homeless veterans, they don't have any money. So we're using the money that we make from the people who are paying participants and using that towards the people who are non-paying participants, kind of like a scholarship, I guess, is what we might call it.
Right. Now, if you're watching us and you have things that you want to just do them, but you're not sure how to start, then please mention it in the comments. You can join us on camera as well if you wish. And we both firmly of the belief that if you have an idea, you just do it. Because if you fail 99 times, you get it right once, and it's the once that counts, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Well, you think about like the lives you impact when you do just do it too, because you inspire others to just do things. And so, it's about being in action. That's why I call it actionator, because, we got the Terminator, right? We have all that stuff, but, I wanted to have like the actionator. It's not even a word, but I'm hoping that it makes its way into the dictionary someday. I don't know. Well, so Gospel says, sign me up. She says, sign me up. Is it okay if I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to just do it. Is it okay if I put a link to the charity? The Giving Angels?
Yeah, I telepathically was saying, just do it.
Oh, okay. I don't like to add links unless it's okay with the people I'm with. I just, out of respect. But this is our show, so.
It is. It is. And talking of which, we're at a different time next week, aren't we?
Yes, we are going to change. So it's the givingangels.org. We're going to change our time, and we're going to change our time 1 hour earlier. So that'll be 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And what time is that in where you are? You're
4 p.m. in the UK.
In the UK. Okay. And then the reason for that is kind of fun, is because there's a group that meets every week on Thursday to talk about nonprofits and growing your nonprofit. And I want to apply my nonprofit to being part of this group, because they have raised millions of dollars for charities. And so what I want to do is attend these meetings so I can find out what it's all about, so that next year when the applications open up in January, that when I apply, I'm ready. I'm ready to go, right, and my nonprofit will be approved. I know it will be approved. I just go into everything knowing I'm going to get it. This is one of the reasons why I've done so many things, because I know it's going to happen, and that's why I just do so many things. But I know we're going to get approved, and so I already see it's the vision of how many people we're going to help, just by this one program. So it's really exciting. Oh,
right. And
Catherine says, can I get a show reminder for this? What do I type? Live? Oh, how do they get a show reminder?
We don't have messenger bots on the show today because of the 5 days live. You can only do so much in a day, and doing the 5 days live, we don't have a bot on the show today. We'll have the bots will be back next week. For the moment, Lynda actually will post this show tomorrow. So if you go to the Be Live in 5 page tomorrow, you will be able to hit the reminder button, get a reminder for next week's show, and then you can sign up for broadcast. But the other thing is that we're having the show earlier today. What we didn't want to do was to send out 2 reminders in one day, because we don't want to annoy people. So next week, one show.
What we could do, Stephen, is you can, because I know are you in charge of the bots for this show?
Yeah.
So you can set up a bot after we're done here, and maybe replay or something like that for the keywords. Yeah. So they could type, but if they type it now, they won't be able to get the bot. Never mind.
That's right. It's okay. Yeah. Say hello to Jason, and we're talking about just do it, Jason. And if there's anything that you want to finish fast, you're in the right place. We're talking about going from an idea to actually doing something about it, and that's something that Lynda and I firmly believe in. That basically, if something is outside your control, you should ignore it, shouldn't you? You shouldn't worry about things which are outside your control.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's such a waste of energy. Oh my gosh, how many people have energy vampires in their life? I used to have a lot of them. When I got around them, I just felt like the life was sucked out of me, and I discovered that I didn't have to hang around them. That was like a big discovery. It's like, oh, you know, but I didn't have to hang around them, whether it's family or friends that I've had forever. You know, we have, I know people, they call them lifelongers, you know, people you've known forever.
Yeah.
Some lifelongers are life stealers, you know. So do you really have to have that lifelonger in your life? Now, there might be some guilt around this. Like, what are you talking about, Lynda? Like, I've known this person forever. Like, I'm going to remain their friend forever. But if they're stealing your energy, your positive energy, and they're, you know, helping like drain you, then think about, do you really need to have that person in your life? I just say that because it's changed my life. By surrounding myself by positive and uplifting people, it's inserted energy into me instead of taking energy from me. And I don't, what's your thought on that, Stephen? I'm really like firm and harsh on that one.
Right. I'm almost firm. I think that the thing is that you can have situations where you get dragged into something which has no resolution and you can't affect the outcome. When you start worrying about things over which you have no control, then you're diverting from actually doing something that you can do. So what I find is that if something is affecting me, but I can't do anything about it, then I just put it in the back of my mind and carry on with things that I can do. Concentrating on things that you can't do is a vicious, well, it just doesn't make any sense, does it? You've gone silent. I've lost your sound.
No, I muted myself. Well, when I type, I mute myself because my keyboard is so loud, you know. It's like myself when I type. But yeah, because when we spend too much time, you know, worrying about others, or like I hear this all the time. This is one thing I've really tried hard to eliminate from my vocabulary, and that is he needs to do this, she needs to do that, because I can't control them. It's so plain and simple. Whether it's your spouse, your family, your friends, your coworkers, you cannot control them. So I'm going to give a great example of this. And my husband and I, we've been together almost 30 years. And a lot of that is just like figuring out the communication styles, like how do we communicate with each other, right? That's really been helpful. Sometimes we like butt heads, but then we figure it out. So for years, Stephen, probably 10 years, I spent getting frustrated that he wouldn't put the dishes away a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or he would, I call it the magic wand. He'll wash the dishes and he'll literally like turn the water on. And I don't even think the dish hits the water, but it makes its way to the strainer. You know, I'm like, I don't even think that hit the water. And so, so I would complain about it. And he this, he that. And I realized one day after about 10 years, I said, you know what? Instead of letting this bother me, why don't I just go ahead and wash them and put them away? And it totally changed my thought about this one little thing. And by changing my thought about that one little thing led to the next thing that bothered me, whatever it was, whether it's putting the toilet paper on the roll the wrong way, you know, because people get their panties in a bunch about that kind of stuff. But if you can stop stressing about the things other people do and just either fix it or just say like, you know what, it doesn't affect me. It does not affect me. It'll change your life for the better. So instead of like concentrating on all these negative things that you can't change, just think about the things you can change and make those change. Just do it. Change your mindset. When you change your mindset, you change your life. Trust me, I know, because I used to be a negative ninny. And now, no, I'm a positive Patsy.
Right. And in that regard, sometimes coaching can help.
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah, my life coach changed my life. She just helped to unlock the possibilities that were out there for me, making me realize that it's unlimited, endless possibilities of what I want. Now I had to do all the work. I still have work to do. I'm not done. I'm not done until the last breath I take. Like I'm going to grow as much as possible. But having a coach, life coaches are amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you get the amazing one. You have to have the amazing one.
I'm glad to say this. Joy is actually watching live, and it's a pleasure to have Joy watching us too. And
hey, Joy.
Yeah, I do too. Which is why we've got together to do this Just Do It show, which has a wide range of topics. If you want to suggest one while we're talking, then please do.
Yeah,
but
because we have no agenda.
We have no agenda. We don't write anything down. All we've got is recording after the show, and we go back to that and we say, did we talk about that? And we did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I want to say, so Barbara had a question here. She goes, do you suggest planning a week out? This will be fun. We can both talk about our perspectives of this. So, yeah, do you suggest planning a week out, Stephen?
Right. Okay. My week is planned basically around social media. So I've got the 5 shows a week in a normal week, and my plan goes around those and around the live video hub, and basically networking. That's what I do all week. I love it. I love getting to know people, chatting to people, talking live. So it's structured around 5 events, but I don't plan anything out hour by hour, if that's the question.
I'm with you kind of on that. I think planning is great, but I also think being flexible is a very important skill to have. And I'll share like just a really quick example of that. You know, working on this documentary, like I'm the one who's planning the timeline. But I've had to be very, very flexible on that timeline, because when you're coordinating 20 or 30 people, things change, right? So, so I have it all planned out. But as far as planning a week out, you know, I try to plan a month out, but I also know that a lot of things can happen in between. So I'm not structured, but I'm structured, if that makes sense. Like I like to plan out a structure, but it doesn't always happen. But as long as my shows go live when they're supposed to, or there's somebody there to back me up when I don't wake up, like Stephen last week. So as long as my shows go live and what I have out there to the public happens when I say it's going to happen, then awesome. The other stuff in the back, you know, the background, the back scenes, it's okay. Whatever happens, happens, as long as I come back and I continue, you know, moving forward, taking action, and, you know, making everything happen.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what happens behind the scenes gives you the flexibility, and the fixed point is when you're actually going to do something either live or in the real world. But occasionally things will go wrong. And
yes,
my go wrong story of the week is that I arranged to interview somebody yesterday, and I forgot to put it in my diary. And at 20 minutes before I was live, and 40 minutes into the live show, I got a message on Messenger saying, do you have a link to the Be Live, the guest link to the Be Live show in 20 minutes time? And I thought, no, I don't. I thought, 2 choices. You've got 2 choices here. You can either say, I'm live at the moment, can we actually do this next week? Or you can just do it. So
say yes. I got it.
I finished the show that I was on 5 minutes early. I created a new show on Be Live. I took the 3 questions that my guest was going to answer first, put those into the agenda, and at 1 minute past the hour, we went live, which was a minor miracle. So you can, within 20 minutes, sort of organize everything for a show. It's not the best way to do it, but given the option between not doing it and disappointing someone and doing it and everything going reasonably according to plan, I would always say just do it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, because I've had things like that happen too, you know, where somebody, I looked at my calendar and we were supposed to go live at 7 a.m. Well, you know, I'm not accustomed to really being awake that early because I go to bed late. And I just happened to wake up about 6 a.m. that day. And I looked at my calendar like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything for this show at all. I don't even know who the person is. So, but those shows are fun for me because I like to go into my shows unplanned, unrehearsed. You know, having an agenda of like what I kind of want to cover is great, but I don't always cover the agenda that I have because I love really actually listening to the person, to what they're saying in the moment, and then gleaning from that what my next questions are going to be. And so because of that, I got to share that I interviewed, oh my gosh, I interviewed Randy Jackson. He was one of the judges on American Idol.
Yes, I know.
And he was like, that was a really good interview. I'm like, wow, this is, Randy Jackson, right? And then I interviewed Jack Canfield. He's like, you're a great interviewer. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's because I actually listen, listen to the conversation.
Yeah, I think that is key. And that's where our styles are sort of similar insofar as I listen to my guest and I take my next question comes from something that they've said.
Yes.
And therefore it goes naturally. And you can go with the flow and you can ask. One of the pitfalls of doing any interview is to ask yes/no questions, because there's only one word answer. What you've got to do is to get into the habit of asking open questions. So rather than saying a yes or no question, you say, how do you feel about, or how did that feel, or what happened next, or something that opens the conversation up. And that's why we can do this show, because we use the same methodology. Whilst we're listening to each other, we're thinking about, I like that point, I'm going to go with it and I'm going to run with it.
That's a great point. Well, it is so true, because often, when I interview somebody, and because of that style, they will say that was a really good interview. I've even heard that's the best interview I've ever had. I've heard those kinds of things, and it's because I'm actually really listening to them. And because, the person who's being interviewed, you think about it, they're taking time out of their day. They're being on your show, and, what is it that they're going to gain from being on your show? Well, hopefully you're going to, intrigue them. Hopefully you're going to make them laugh. Hopefully you're going to make them smile. Hopefully you're going to bring out some great information from them that can help your audience. There's so many different elements to it. And what I like the best is that when I'm listening intently to them, I'm able to ask them questions that a lot of times takes them back into their childhood days. And they get this like childlike look on their face. And I did that to John Lee Dumas. It was so awesome. He's like a brilliant podcaster. He's podcasted thousands of podcasts. And, to get him to like smile and just have this like a boyish grin on his face, because the question I asked him took him back to a time in his childhood. So it's really fun for me to see what I can do with these interviews. And I've done a couple hundred so far. I'm shooting for my thousands, But it's so awesome to be able to really tap into people's, just like really tap into them, not the surface, but let's tap in deep and see who they are and what they're all about.
Well, we're fortunate in being able to interview people that we're interested in.
Yes. Yeah? I only interview people I'm interested in, by the way.
Well,
it makes it easier.
Well, you don't have to know everything that they know, but if you know a little bit about their particular topic, and you can do that through research, it either comes from life experience or you look it up to find out. But one of the ways, the way that I work, we've all got people who we model ourselves on to a certain degree. And in the UK, in the 80s, chat shows were the rage on television. So there'll be chat shows during the week, there'll be chat shows at weekends. And one of our best interviewers was a chap called Michael Parkinson, who you don't have to have heard of, but he interviewed Muhammad Ali. And when he interviewed him, you could tell, first of all, Michael's love of boxing, but Michael's interest in the person. And when Muhammad Ali talked, he told stories he didn't expect to tell. And I think that's the thing, that if you can draw people out and get them to talk about themselves, then that's what works best, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Because, a lot of times you think about some of the interviews that are conducted, there's a little bit of ego there. You have stories you want to share. And like when I'm interviewed on other people's shows, I'm honored to be interviewed on anybody's show, because I think it's awesome that somebody is interested in what I have to share. So because of that, I'm hoping that I have an opportunity to share. There was only one time so far, that I was interviewed on someone's show, and it was an hour long, and literally about 55 minutes of it was that person talking. And I was about 5 minutes of the interview, and I got done. I was like, I wasn't interviewed. I was actually used to tap into my audience. And it
Oh
didn't
yeah.
feel good, you know?
Yep.
So, but I'm, you know, I'll hop on anybody's show to be interviewed, especially like talking. I love talking about fear, as you know, because I love helping people get beyond their fear and to step out of their comfort zone and enlarge the size of their comfort zone. Because, you know, mine, oh my gosh, I would not have done some of the things I've done recently had I not, you know, step into those fears and just break them. Now I do things because they scare me. Not that I now, instead I used to be like, I'm not doing that because it scares me. Now it's like, oh, that scares me. That's why I have to do it now. Totally
Well,
different.
if you challenge yourself and face your fears, then you're winning, aren't you? You're not giving in to them.
Yeah, totally. You know, I came up with this during that year. I came up with a lot of different sayings. You know, like one of those is to, you know, be brave and share your weaknesses. For in your weaknesses, others see your strengths. Because so often someone is like, oh, I can't do that because people are going to judge me. So let's say, for example, what I did is I posted some pictures of me. I was going on a diet, and so I posted some pictures of me, and people, because that was my fear I was facing that day, was posting pictures of me, you know, in my outfit or whatever. And so I posted the pictures, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're so brave!" And I was like, I did something that I was terrified to do, and people saw it as bravery. So I had this weakness that I shared, but because I shared my weakness, people saw me as brave. And I realized that how important it is for us to put ourselves out there, especially with our weaknesses. Now, even if you're a person who is, you know, like high level and you're a coach and you're a trainer and all this stuff, you know, when you're showing yourself as the perfect, amazing person all the time and people don't see your weaknesses, they can't relate to you. But once they can relate to you because you're sharing with vulnerability and authenticity, that's when they really are able to tap into you, who you are as a human being. And it's not showing that you're weak at all. It's actually showing your strength, because your strength is in the fact that you're willing to share that you're vulnerable. It's like this weird, like, vortex.
Yeah.
Awesome though.
Totally, because if you can relate to the people you're talking to, then they can relate to you. If you tell your stories openly, then people can identify with what you're talking about, and it doesn't have to be anything profound. It can be something simple and straightforward. We're not, when we're on live as we are now, we're talking in general terms, but we're not trying to bamboozle anybody or to sort of frighten anybody. We're actually sharing our experiences.
Right. And maybe next week I'll share the experience of how I lost $70,000 in one event.
All right. Okay. Well,
great segue.
Right. Okay. And we're getting some wonderful comments coming in, and this is the beauty of the system, in that we can look at the comments and we can share them, we can interact with them and talk to everyone who's involved. And this is open. If you want to join us on any of the shows that Lynda and I do, next week is at 11 a.m. Eastern. Next Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, Lynda and I will be here. If you want to come on as a guest, please do. We'd love to hear your story. Everybody has something to share, and we're not known to bite. We are friendly, and we want to help in any way that we can. And so join us. Just do it.
Yeah, and I'd like to offer to Catherine. She says, unfortunately, your spouse is unsupportive and negative. Okay. And I totally get that, Catherine. And I want to offer to you, if you want to hop on a call, it'll be like a complimentary call that we can just talk. And maybe there's something I can say that will help you in this situation. Because sometimes it's not really that they're unsupportive, it's that they feel threatened. Sometimes they're scared for what you're doing. Sometimes they're worried that it's not going to work out. So sometimes it's not really that they're unsupportive, but that's the only word we can really kind of figure to place to it. And so I actually went through a situation recently with my husband. Like I said, we've been together 30 years. So we've had a lot of situations. And so recently we did have a situation that I had to work through with him. And, Catherine, if you're interested, we can hop on a call and I'll share with you that situation. And I don't know if maybe that will be able to help you a little bit. I don't know if it will, but if it does, then amazing, right? And, no harm, no foul, because the thing is that just just reaching out to somebody who is in the space that is going to be positive and uplifting for you. Because if you have a spouse who is unsupportive and you go and you tell your friends who are not in a positive mindset, they're going to say, well, you should leave him. You should this. And they're going to say he this. And they're going to like all these things that are going to be more negative. Whereas if you reach out to a person who is in a positive mindset and sees solutions rather than problems, that person can possibly help you find the solution that you need to make it so that you can turn this around into a good situation for both you and your spouse. So that's why I recommend always reach out to people who have, like, for example, I have 30 years of marriage. I've gone through ups and downs, and I can share with you why I'm still married after 30 years because of the experiences I've had. So I'm what would be considered counsel, somebody who has success in the area of marriage relationship. Now, I have success in other areas, of course, but this is one of those that I can say 30 years, So I have success getting jobs. I've had 49. So if you want to know how to get a job, I can help you with that too. But the point I'm making here is that when we surround ourselves with positive and uplifting people, that we can glean that information from them, that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see the solution for the problem we have. If we surround ourselves with people who are negative or people who just have bad things to say about it or agree with you, if you're speaking negative thoughts and they're agreeing with you, then you're just going to go down that tunnel of negativity. So if you want to be lifted out of that negativity that you're experiencing in different areas of your life, I highly recommend reaching out to mentors, coaches, people who are living the life that you wish you were living. Like, I wish I was like that. That's the person you reach out to. My mentor, Greg Reed, says all the time, those who are the most successful are the most available. That's because those who are the most successful give a hand up and they want to help people. And so you reach out to those who are successful, even though you're like, they're probably too busy for me. Don't ever assume somebody is too busy for you. A lot of times their calendar is free because everybody assumes they're too busy for them. And Papa agrees.
On that note, I mean, we've done it again. We've been chatting away without an agenda for the last 60 minutes. And we've been joined by people who've not joined before. So we'll say hello to everybody who's joined us today, and especially to Sylvia and to Joy and to Lynn and Gospel and everybody who's made a comment today. You've helped make the show, and we'll be back at 4 p.m. in the UK next Thursday. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, and incredibly, it's 8 o'clock on the Pacific coast where Lynda is.
Yeah, and I just want to address this really quick because Gospel says, totally have to have plan B. It's hard if you are a solo presenter. So just so you know, Stephen produces shows. So if that's something you're interested in, having someone produce your show for you, highly recommend reaching out to Stephen, and he can produce that show for you. You never know where that'll go.
Totally. And
I think Joy and I have connected. Like, she's like we're like totally like this.
Brilliant. The power of getting together on live video. Dean's saying he's got a fear of grey hair. I don't have a fear. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, my sister has grey hair and it looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, what are the UK times, Stephen, again?
Right, and Gospel helped as well. It's 4 p.m. in the UK next Thursday. Lynda and I will be back, and we won't have an agenda. You're welcome to come along and talk about anything that you want to. You can join us on camera. You can be in the comments. And it's just a blast. And we both recommend just do it. Lynda, out to you for your closing words of the day.
Closing words of the day. Yes, Lynn, you are exactly right. You can't really get great advice on marriage from someone who is divorced. So, and my love coach, Sylvia, is in the house. Thank you very much for joining us, and Gospel and Lynn. And you guys, want to thank you all for tuning in live with us, and for the replay viewers. Appreciate you as well. So go ahead and have any comments you want, put them down below. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and put those as well. And, we hope to see you joining us live next week. If not, see you on the replay. There will be a bot set up for next week as well. Oh, yeah. And Stephen will do that. I'm looking forward to me getting up an hour earlier so that I can be here an hour earlier. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. Thank you, Barbara. And thank you, Lynn and Lynn. Okay, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you. Well, tomorrow's show is at what time?
Tomorrow's show is at 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in the UK.
7 a.m. Pacific. Okay, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye.